pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
David is going to go ahead and introduce our veterans.
I thought they were veterinarians. I'm not prepared. Last week, the nation paused to pay respect and honor to those among us who certainly deserve it. This country was founded after a war so that we could found this nation, one that is conceived in liberty, as Abraham Lincoln said, and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal under the law. He didn't say the last part, but that's what it is. And it's appropriate that we do that from time to time because our heroes have paid enormous prices. And if you're here tonight and you're a veteran in any way of our armed forces, we invite you to come up and stand behind me, and then we'll take turns introducing ourselves and tell the people what service you were in, where you were, how many legs you got shot off, and that kind of stuff. And I will start since I'm already here. I'm David Haga. I graduated from East Tennessee State University with a commission in the U.S. Army. I was Ranger qualified, served one tour in Vietnam, and I got out of the Army the same day I got back to the United States. So it was a brief but glorious career. I do have problems left over from Agent Orange, but again, that is a small price to pay for the freedom of so many people and for a nation like ours that can exist as an example for others on the face of this earth.
My name is Carl Morris, and I was in the Army 69, 71, went to Vietnam, stayed over there 8.5 months, and hit a landmine, come back home.
I'm Ed Bowman. I got my commission through ROTC at East Tennessee State University, 1965. I went on active duty, and after I got through my basic officer course, they gave us three choices. The first choice was Vietnam, the second was Korea, and the third was to extend for a third year. I chose Korea and got Korea. So I went to Korea and spent 13 months there, and then came back and finished my tour at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Then I got off of active duty, started teaching school, and started a career in the Army Reserves. I spent a total of 28 years active federal service and retired in 1993.
I'm Butch Carr, and I served in the United States Navy under peacetime. But I have two stories, and I'm not going into details on them. But I will say this. I stand here tonight saying I'm the only Navy person that ever walked off of the Charleston Naval Base in Charleston, South Carolina, with a dollar bill as my ID card and a fictitious Liberty card from a non-existent United States naval ship. Came home for a 72 Air Liberty, came back through the main gate of Charleston, South Carolina, went back across two ships and back aboard my ship and got by with it.
But you still have your dollar?
Yes. And the other was that I was in dry docks for several months in Boston, Massachusetts, and I got to know some people in the Massachusetts School of Theology at Boston University. I moved in with them as they're sort of had one or two pair of civilian slacks and some shirts, and I had a room of my own. I lived in that dorm for 9 months, every night, except on occasional weekend when I had duty aboard ship. The rest of the time, I lived in the dorm. They never did know. They knew somebody was staying there, but I was a phantom of that dormitory for 9 months. I knew all the professors because I'd stop and ask them what went on in class, and they had told them I had questions about it. The next morning, I would salute them in naval uniform, going down to the subway station, going back to the ship.
I'm Roger Tynard. I was in the United States Marine Corps. I was in during the Vietnam thing, but I never did have to go to Vietnam. I was stationed in a training squadron in Beaufort, South Carolina. And we trained everybody that went over there, just about. On there, one note, our daughter was the 1969 Worldwide Marine Corps birthday baby. So she was born 8:04 a.m. Marine Corps birthday.
I'm Jeff Banks. I spent 2 years in the Air Force. 29 years, 6 months, 9 days. No, I just recently retired this year. I'm glad to be here. And my wife, Dee, she spent 25 of those years with me, and she deserves more credit than I do for it.
My name is Pat Stern. I was commissioned out of Notre Dame in 1970 and was active duty about 1978 in the medical corps. and my wife was very upset with the assignment because we were sent to Honolulu, Hickam Air Force Base. And we went out the back door. We had the most gorgeous view of Pearl Harbor. It was just an inspiring place to be.
Your friends and neighbors have chosen you?
That's right. 21 months of Panama Canal down in the infantry. Which one? There's a lot of things happen in the Panama Canal Zone in the 21 months I was down there. A lot of people come and went. It was mostly for the Vietnam, sending the officers to Vietnam. They went through jungle survival, and then the R&R that come back from Vietnam, they come down there and work to help train. I didn't do much while I was in the Army. Worked about 20 hours a day. Worked about 20 hours a day. Most of the time, 7 days a week. And that made the time pass very fast. My great-granddaddy was a Confederate soldier, and I'm a 5th generation of Andrew Susong that was in the Revolutionary War in Pennsylvania.
Them Sioux songs just can't get along with anybody.
I'm Louis Whaley. I was inducted into the Army as an enlisted man on my 17th birthday, 1961, and was in the United States Army Signal Corps for 3 years. I was stationed overseas in West Germany, Kaiserslautern, Germany, for 2 years, and Fort Chaffee, Arkansas for about 9 months. And I was able to attain the rank enlisted man, Sergeant 5, at 19 years old, so I was kind of proud of that. So that's my story. Thank you.
Okay. I was in VMF 233, which is the air branch of the Marine Corps, when I was very young, and I was an ordnanceman, and I got to be observer on a S-2F, which is a very maneuverable twin-engine airplane about the size of a B-25, very maneuverable. And that's the one thing I really enjoyed. We used to go over bombing missions and bomb South Carolina, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. No flak, no nothing else, and that was all. Unfortunately, the squadron got wiped out. The Japs, that squadron went back to Guadalcanal and the original Cactus Air Force. That was the original one. And the Japs couldn't destroy it, and they flew, before there was Corsairs, and they later got the Panther jets is what I had, and they had Panther jets. The Koreans couldn't wipe them out. McNamara wiped them out. So that's what happened to my squadron. It ended with bureaucracy. Okay, I guess that's about it.
Thank each one of these people for the sacrifices that they and their family made so that we can stand here tonight or be here tonight. I'm the only one. And I am proud of every one of you, and I'm proud of every day I serve this country. And as soon as everybody else gets a turn, I'll do it again. Our program tonight is another way to honor and make known the job that soldiers, sailors, and airmen and women have done for our country. Team Normandy, a limited liability corporation, has a website where anyone can go and post the accomplishments and awards or court martials or whatever you want people to know about people in your family or people that you know, people that you think should be recognized for their service. And tonight we have the people from Team Normandy to present this website and talk about what they do. It is not only a website to honor veterans and so on, but also it is a business that they run to help people with technology to implement that kind of. Our presenter tonight is Nikki Whaley Wilson, and she will go through the program. We'll have time afterwards for some questions. Please. Yeah? Okay. So afterwards we'll have time for questions. So during the presentation, if you would just hold those, write them down if you've got a memory like mine, and then they'll be addressed after the program.
Again, my name is Nikki Whaley Wilson, and along with my father, Lewis Whaley, and my brother, Vincent Whaley, we form a family-based business called Team Normandy. We offer honorable web and mobile application development. We also offer historical and military research services, too. Our flagship application, Military Tribute, debuted June 6th of this year, which was a special date for us. That was the 70th anniversary of the D-Day landings in Normandy, France. So, what is Military Tribute's website? What can you do? From the American Civil War to the world wars of Afghanistan and Iraq, Military Tribute soon will be the largest online collection of stories, awards, videos, dedicated all to the American Armed Forces personnel and their military service careers. Do you know someone who has served or will be serving in America's armed forces? The Army, Army National Guard, Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force, or the Coast Guard? Perhaps a great-great-uncle who served in the Civil War. Possibly, like me, a grandfather who saw combat in World War II. If you have loved ones, friends, anyone who is currently serving or who has served in our America's Armed Forces, Military Tribute allows you to post the ultimate tribute to their military careers online, and the best part, it's free. You will need some information to create a tribute. Pardon me, I want to make sure I'm explaining everything. The information that you need, of course, first and last name, city, state, zip code, if the person has passed, just where they resided last. Branch of service, such as the Army, Army National Guard, Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force, or Coast Guard. We need the rank, such as private first class or sergeant, and dates of service. The dates of service are not required, but it's extremely helpful when searching for tributes on the website. So to get started, you need to create a user registration. And the first step in that is to go to our Military Tributes homepage, www.militarytributes.com, and just select Login from the top navigation menu. And under Login, you'll see New User Registration. When completing the user registration form, it's best practice when choosing a username to not use your email address for the username, because it can be used in various public sections of the website. The only required fields other than username are password, email address, first name, and last name. And then at the bottom, you'll see you must check the little checkbox to accept our terms and conditions. It's the user registration form, and then at the bottom, just that little check mark. Once you've successfully submitted the user registration form, you'll receive an email that just validates that you're a legitimate user with a functioning email address. This email address will be sent to the one that you do give us on this form. Please check your spam folder if you don't see it in your regular inbox. Once you receive that email, just open it up and click on the validation link. Once you click on that, you will use your username and your password to log in. And once you've logged in, you'll be redirected to the Military Tributes homepage. And you'll see at the top, you'll see it says log in. And then once you do log in, it gives you an option to log out. So you'll know that you're logged in. One more. Okay. See at the top it says log out, so you know that you're logged in. So after logging in, you want to go to the Honor Them option at that same top navigation link. The first of 3 small tribute forms will load at that point. On the first form, what you have to have required fields are your first name for the tribute that you're listing, the first name, last name, city, state, and zip code. Certain fields are required to allow for better sorting when tributes are searched across the website. Once you have filled out all the required fields, click the Continue to Step 2 button at the bottom. That is the first page. Fill out the required fields and then just click on the Step 2. And then the second of the 3 small tribute forms will load. The required fields for the Step 2 are service branch and rank. Although not required fields, it's very helpful for searching the website to include dates of service too. Other non-required fields include the unit served in, military occupational specialty, Navy rating, or the Air Force Specialty Code. Once you have filled out the required fields, you can then click the Step 3 button. Then your third and last form will load. There are no required fields for this Step 3, but this is the awesome part. This is where you can write a lengthy description of the military career, their awards, and stories for their service time, and choose one photo to upload to accompany the listing. Currently, only one photo is allowed for your tribute listing, but there are plans to allow more than one photo in an upcoming release. Once you click the Submit Photo and Description button, you'll be redirected to the tribute finished listing. This is your third step. This is where you'll write any stories or awards or anything you want to tell about the tribute service time. And then once you click on that, you'll get your finished product. This is the next step. This is what your tribute is going to look like with your photo. And it has everything that you have input into the field. On your Tribute's official listing page, there are also social media options for Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. You may like, share, or comment on your Tribute's listing within these social media applications. You'll see those at the top of your Tribute listing. You can also edit your Tribute. After you successfully finish your Tribute, you can always go back in and edit. You can change photos. You'll find a list. To edit the tribute, you want to go to Honor Them option at the top navigation menu and go to My Tribute. This will give you a listing of all the tributes that you've created. And you can choose to edit a tribute, or you can choose to view the tribute. It'll give your tribute name and then the edit or view. You can click on either one of those. And the option to delete a tribute is going to be added in the future release, but right now, if there is any reason that a tribute listing that you have would need to be deleted, you can email us, and there's a contact form on our page also, and we'll be happy to take care of that for you. You can also search the tributes that are on the website. You can search by service branches or military operations. At the top navigation menu, you see a full list of service branches that are currently available for searching. These include the Army, Army National Guard, your Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force, or Coast Guard, and you can view all tributes listed in each branch. You can also go to the next one over, which is Operations. And what is currently available under Operations, we've got War in Afghanistan, War on Terrorism, War in Iraq, Operation Desert Storm, Operation Desert Shield, Vietnam War, Korean War, Cold War, World War II, World War I, or American Civil War. So we get the question a lot, I don't like computers, what if I don't know how to input the information, but I would love to have a tribute on there, or what if I don't have all of the information required? The account registration and the postage is absolutely free. Team Normandy does offer assistance if needed. If you have all of the information, you have a photo that you want to post a tribute, we will be happy to assist you with the creation for a flat fee of $29.99. If you need research assistance in locating any military paperwork or other items of interest from the government and or research facilities such as the National Archives in Washington, D.C., Team Normandy charges an hourly research fee of $39.99. If any paperwork needs to be completed and mailed out to military information, that same hourly fee of $39.99 applies.